Hey coffee nerds. Believe it or not, I am actually at one of the highest coffee estates here in India, and it is in fact my last day here in India. It's about 7:30 a.m. We've got a long drive ahead of us, and I just wanted to give you a quick recap of the last 8 days that we've spent here. And when I say we, I mean Coffee Libre and Valley Coffee Roasters, among some of our other good friends from Korea. They've actually brought me on this trip to make a full documentary of 3 different coffee estates that we visited. Several different farms, different processes, different varietals of coffee, and interviewing some really cool farmers. And hopefully through that you'll get a good sense of what's happening in Indian coffee. It's very exciting. We've got some robustas, we've got some arabicas, we've got some very special processes I'm super excited to show you. So stay tuned for that epic journey. I will see you at the end of the video. Let's get right to it.
We are growing coffee, both arabica and robusta, in the prime coffee growing areas in Karnataka. Mom and family owns these farms for the last 80 years. And we have a unique robusta estate in the higher mountains, the Baba Budan Giris, where the birthplace of, as you know, the Indian coffee. And the coffee has the unique richness of the flora and fauna of a natural forest. That must have been one of our attributes for the great cups what you find in the Baba Budan, that is the battered can coffee. And there is another farm where that is the Karkikonda estate, which has got both arabica and robusta farm. And this here in the wet mill we have the arabica and robusta, 2 independent dedicated lines, and both are simultaneously pulped. Pepper is like what you call in India, we call pepper the king of spices. So, and pepper synergies well in the coffee because we have the shade trees in the coffee plantations, and all the shade trees we can grow pepper. And then we have areca nuts on the swamps and then low-lying areas that also contribute income to the farm. And palms are all planted close by close. Harvesting the palm is a skilled job. One person has to climb up with his knife, with a stick and the rope. And the bunch which is harvested is slid down through the rope. A person at the ground will hold it.
Hi, I'm Kirit Uthappa. I'm a coffee farmer from Coorg in India. I have the farm called Azad Hin Estate, which has been in our family for 3 generations since 1945. So it was acquired by my granddad, who was a freedom fighter, and he bought it from an Englishman called William Mann, and we've had it since. And as he was a freedom fighter, he gave it the name Azad Hind, which means freedom to India, as we got it just around the time of independence, hence the name. So I've been on this farm for the last 21 years, running it and taking it from my father now. The primary crop is Robusta coffee. We're mostly into Robusta coffee because the climate and the elevation is more suitable for this particular varietal. So that's how we have been growing Robusta for so many years now. Yeah, we are growing our Robusta under drip irrigation, which we have introduced from Israel. So instead of giving it just 3 rounds of fertilizer through the monsoon months, we are able to give it fertilizer right through the year on an everyday basis. The same amount of fertilizer is divided into 365 days and given, so the plants respond much better to the fertigation, and we are able to get a much better crop and much better quality of the coffee. I'm supplying most of my coffees to South Korea at the moment, and a little bit to China also. The oldest tree would be around 70 years, and we have been replanting for the last 15 years. So we've got a mix of old and young trees with new varietals also, which we've added on in the last few years. I came to meet Phil about 9 years back. He was introduced to me by one of the Q graders from India. The relationship has been good. He has only been buying more and more of my coffees in the last 9 years, and looking forward to be with him for many more years to come. We always lived off the land and the produce of the land, and since that was the way we have come up, we also worship our ancestors, because what we have today is what is given down to us from the previous generations. So we respect them a lot, and we look towards them as our gods.
The founder of this farm is one Mr. Randolph Morris, who opened up this estate in the year 1882. My grandfather, Mr. K.S. Vaidyanathan, acquired these farms and promoted Sangameshwar Coffee Estates in the year 1958. My name is Appadurai. I am the managing director of Sangameshwar Coffee Estates, which owns 4 coffee farms called Karadikan, Gangigiri and Kondatkan, and one in the Mysore district in the Biligiri Rangan range of hills called Attica Estate. Attica is the highest place where coffee is grown in India. Probably the closest to nature you can really think of, as it is surrounded by a thick wildlife sanctuary. And so we do have a lot of animals coming into our farm. The tigers, leopards, elephants, and a whole lot of smaller animals like porcupines, rabbits, bears, etc. The shade pattern is mostly the native atti tree, we call it, the fig. So that is only the shade tree here. We don't have any other, of course we do have silver for commercial purposes, but the shade pattern is mostly the atti tree. That is why it is called Attican. And then as a policy we have started, we are implementing from next year not to use any chemical weedicide, which will do any harm to the animal. And then when we do our pulping, we don't allow the water into the natural stream, because a lot of villages will also use it. We have our own settlement anaerobic, aerobic tanks, and then we treat it and we then only release it. We produce washed coffee, washed honey and naturals. Only arabica is grown here because of the elevation. There is no robusta here in this farm. We have started from this year doing anaerobic fermentation as an experiment, and it has turned out very well. And very happy to say that we are our business partner Cafe Libre this is the 10th year. From 2010, Mr. Phil has been coming here to visit Attica.
It's our last day for Indian trip. Here we are in Attica Estate, located in Biligiri Rangan, India. Attica Estate is so special for me. For the last 10 years, I visit more than 300 coffee farms all around the world. But Attica Estate is so unique and impressed for me. So many reasons. But I'd like to say it's a natural beauty. It's not an eco-friendly farm. It's a live ecosystem itself. In this farm, many wild animals like tiger, elephant, bison, leopard, so many birds and human, plenty of coffee trees share this place all together. So such a beauty, I can believe it. And another thing I'd like to say is flavor of coffee from this farm. It's the highest farm in India, so coffee is very different from other Indian coffees. It's very floral, juicy, clean. So I was so proud to introduce this coffee to Korean specialty coffee market. Hope to come back soon. Thank you very much.
conclude this intense coffee journey to the southwest of India, Karnataka. We find ourselves in Mysuru, in the Mysuru Palace, and I find myself probably surrounded by more people than I have been in a very long time. But it's a beautiful palace, and with that, I'm just gonna wrap it up right here. And if you like this video, hit me a like. Leave a comment if you've ever tried Indian coffee or any sort of Southeast Asian coffee and you want to share your experience with it. Please do so, especially robusta. I really want to hear your experience with that. A lot of specialty robusta coming out in the near future. And subscribe for some more coffee journeys. Until then, I will see you in the next destination.